I like snowstorms, hurricanes, and thunderstorms as much as the next meteorologist, but I'm also intrigued simply by the incredible variability of the weather from year to year here in the mid-latitudes. And this time of year, I'm struck by the many different routes the weather takes to get us from the warm to the cold season. And let's start by simply looking at the average path. Here's the average high temperature on the first of every month from September to December, taking us from the end of meteorological summer to the start of meteorological winter. Now in State College, the average high drops 35 degrees in 3 months. In Bradford, the values are a few degrees lower, of course, but there too, the average high drops by 35 degrees from September 1st to December 1st. And here's Philadelphia, warmer on the coastal plain, but still, average highs there drop by a steady 11 degrees per month. But of course, in any given year, the weather rarely follows these guideposts. And it's neat to look at the transition at the daily level. So here's a plot of the average daily high temperature in State College since September 1st. You can see the steady drop of about 1 degree every 2 or 3 days. Now let me show you what happened this year. And no real surprise, since the middle of September, most of the days have been above the long-term average. Now for comparison, here's the same plot for 10 years ago, 2007 in brown. That was the warmest September-October period since 1900. At the other end of the spectrum, here's 1917 in purple. That was the coldest September-October period on record. Quite a contrast, but still heading in the same general direction. And finally, because we like spaghetti here on Weather World, here's a look at every year since the turn of the century. So there are 18 lines in addition to the thicker average line. This messy bundle really gives a sense for the wide variety of ways that nature progresses through the first 2 months of meteorological autumn. To close things out, as another way to gauge year-to-year variability, let me focus on just October. Here's the number of days in each October since 1980, when the high temperature got to at least 65 in State College, which arguably feels pretty good this time of year. There have been as few as 6 such days in some years, as many as 20 in other years. This year, with 18, has been on the high side. Now, of course, a suitable threshold depends on location. Here, for example, is the number of days with a high of at least 75 in October in Philadelphia. And we see the same kind of year-to-year variability. As few as 0 in 1 year back in the 1980s, as many as 16 in other years. Again, the idea is simply that the transition from the warm season to the cold season can feel very different from year to year. And that's just typical in Pennsylvania. Indeed, though the descent into the cold season may be inevitable, it often comes with many twists and turns along the way. I suspect there are a few in the extended forecast. Next.